thrilled to be able to introduce this afternoon's guest, Dale Ahlquist. Dale Ahlquist is co-founder of the first Chesterton Academy and president of the Society for Gilbert Keith Chesterton. He's creator and host of the EWTN series, The Apostle of Common Sense. He's the author of 8 books and the editor of 16 more books, and publisher of Gilbert magazine. And he's given hundreds of lectures across the country and internationally. Excuse me. Bennington College is especially grateful to Mr. Ahlquist for his work in forming wonderful students for us as president of the Chesterton Schools Network, which now includes over 70 schools in the US and 9 other countries. Because of his inspirational work with the Chesterton Academy and the Chesterton Society, Mr. Ahlquist is uniquely suited to speak to us about this afternoon's topic, entrepreneurship in the humanities, the creativity needed to build something new. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Dale Ahlquist.
Well, thank you everyone for sacrificing part of your otherwise valuable lives to come here and suffer with the students from the Chesterton Academies who felt completely obligated to come here, even though they had no desire to come whatsoever. When I was asked to give this talk, my assistant got an email from someone here at Benedictine and said, "Would you talk under this title?" And she asked me, "Is that title okay?" I said, "Well, I'm sure it is. Just say yes." And then, of course, after I said yes, I actually read what the title was. And I have no idea what it means, but I think I can do this. Entrepreneurship in the humanities, the creativity needed to build something new. I'm sure that they want me to talk about the Chesterton Academies, which I'm very happy to do. How did we go about starting the first one? How did the Chesterton Schools Network grow? How did it all happen? And why is that the model of how you should do business? Okay? That's what you're going to hear right now. We started for 3 main reasons. These are the 3 things that I'm never supposed to say. When I would give early talks on Chesterton, on the Chesterton Academy, the first one, the people who were starting with me said, "Whatever you do, don't say. And whatever you do, don't say. And whatever you do, say, do not say." Well, now we're going to find out all those things I wasn't supposed to say, because I can say them now. The schools are up and running. And these are the reasons that we started the school. Everybody knew these things, but you weren't supposed to say them, right? The first reason that we started the schools is because the public schools are in such bad shape. You're not supposed to say that. Someone might be attending a public school. You don't want to offend that person. Someone's parent might teach at a public school. You might offend them. Well, you know, there's no offense intended. It's just that that's just the fact. The public schools are in bad shape, and most everyone involved with the public schools know that they're in bad shape. It's not a secret. The teachers know it, the parents know it, and the students know it. And we've been trying to fix something that hasn't been working very well for a long time. And the reason why the public schools are in such bad shape is explained very well by G.K. Chesterton. And he explained it back in 1910. In 1910, he said, it ought to be the oldest things that are taught to our students. Instead, we're teaching the latest things. We're teaching the newest idea and the newest trend and the newest fashion. He said the problem in the schools today is that the students are exposed to educational philosophies that are younger than they are. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Because if you want your audience to remember anything, you have to say it 3 times, okay? Because the first time you say it, they'll go like this. Because that's what you were doing, right? But the second time you say it, they'll go, you know, I've heard this somewhere before. But the third time you say it, they'll go, you know, I like this guy. He thinks the way I do, right? The problem in our schools today is that students are exposed to educational philosophies that are younger than they are. Yeah, I've heard that somewhere before. And what that means is exactly what it says it means. We are teaching a new educational philosophy generally every 5 to 10 years because the last one isn't working. And all the latest ideas in how to teach and what to teach and how to go about it keep coming out of our universities and the education departments, and they are trying to stay as up to date as possible. And anytime you try to stay up to date, you are already out of fashion. You are already too late. And so that's why Chesterton says, if we're going to be teaching anything, we're supposed to be teaching the old things. Because the very definition of education is that it's truth in the state of transmission. Truth in the state of transmission. Truth in the state of transmission. It's passing the truth from one generation to the next. That's what the role of the teacher is. It's that simple. We're taking what we've received and we're passing it to the next generation. And the problem with the public schools is they can never quite stay up to date. And they're always chasing an impossible goal. The idea of progress, says Chesterton, has become an ideal. But you can't have progress as an ideal until you have defined what your goal is. And then we can determine whether or not we are actually progressing towards something, and we can measure our progress towards it. But if we haven't defined what our goal is, we're not measuring anything. Chesterton says it's simply a comparative to which there is no superlative. And so progress can't be a goal. And you know, it's funny, efficiency can't be a goal either. It's good to be efficient, but it's not a goal. The goal is giving the truth to our students. That's the goal. That's the goal of education. The other problem with public education is that it can't even teach the truth. It's not allowed to teach the truth. It can teach fragments of the truth, but it can't teach the truth that informs all other truths. It has to back off the great truth. It cannot teach the incarnation. It can't teach what Christianity is. In order to do what? What are we teaching? What's our goal? Chesterton says, we all agree we should give the truth. We can't agree on what truth is, but we agree that we have to give it to our children. And that's how the schools are put together. We can't say what the truth is, but we are going to teach the truth to our children without saying what it is. It's a curriculum doomed to fail, and it continues to fail. And that's part of the problem. Then the other thing I'm never supposed to say is the reason why we started the school. Dale, don't ever say this. The reason is that our Catholic schools are in bad shape. And the reason they are is because they've been imitating the public schools. They simply are using the same philosophy of education, this progressive idea of teach the latest fad, the latest philosophy, and then add a religion class to it. And so the result is they're spending a lot of effort mimicking a model that is already proved to be ineffective. And if a Catholic school isn't offering something completely different from what the public schools are offering, well, they're not offering anything. And parents figure that out. They figure out, I'm spending a lot of money to get what my students could probably get at a public school, where I don't have to spend any money. But because the public schools are in such bad shape, they'll still pay to go to a Catholic school because at least it's a private school. That's how they justify spending money, because they know that the public schools are in such bad shape. In 1937, Robert Hutchins, the president of the University of Chicago, spoke to the National Catholic Education Association. And he says the Catholic Church has the longest continuous intellectual tradition in all of history and has this tradition to draw on, unlike any other intellectual tradition that presently existed. And yet, he says, Catholic schools are simply borrowing the worst aspects of public education and using that to teach their students. 1937. But of course, everything improved after he gave that talk. And Catholic schools never again mimicked public schools. The third thing I'm never supposed to say, which is a reason why we started Chesterton Academy. Parents are in bad shape. Dale, you can't say that. And the reason parents are in bad shape, well, one of them is because they're a product of public schools and of Catholic schools that really haven't prepared them intellectually or even done much to, form their character, and they have nothing really substantial to help educate their own children. And they simply, parents, continue to send their kids to public schools or mediocre Catholic schools because that's the only alternatives they know about. They just aren't even motivated to think that there might be something better and a better alternative. And another reason why parents are in bad shape is they're a product of a culture that has degraded thinking, the use of reason, the use of philosophy. They have never been taught how to think. And they've become very passive, and they basically are happy to let someone else do their thinking for them. We live in a society that is passive. We'd rather have someone else entertain us than entertain ourselves. Someone else fight for us than fight for ourselves. Someone else rule us instead of ruling ourselves is what you would do in a democracy, is self-rule. We don't understand self-rule because we don't understand self-control, which is what freedom is. It's not doing whatever you want. It's doing what you should and what is responsible. And not because you're told to do it, but because you are driven to do it for the good. Parents are in bad shape because they simply haven't been encouraged to think any better. And the society has made them passive because of an economic structure where most of them are wage slaves rather than owners, where they don't learn responsibility. They're trained to just have everything done for them in exchange for them doing one task, and everything else will be taken care of. Their health care, their education, and all of their other needs. Just plug in and we'll get all those things. So that's one of the reasons for why we have such an ill-fitting society right now, and why we needed to start a school that was going to do something different. We wanted to address all those things. We were going to, first of all, have a better curriculum than the public schools. We were going to go about teaching an integrated thinking as opposed to the separation of everything from everything else. Chesterton says, the whole world is one wild divorce court, as everything has been separated from everything else. And so students, in the public school system, they don't really see how art and science go together. So consequently, if a student shows interest in art or science, they are pushed towards art and science. Whereas the integrated approach is art and science go really well together, and they should be taught in reference to each other, because science is about the great artist himself. It's about the creator, and we're studying creation when we're studying the world. And art is about creators who are made in the image of God, who also create. And both have to follow the same principles of design, of balance, of proportion, of beauty, of purpose. Those happen in both those departments. The perfect marriage of science and art is in the architecture department, where you are studying something beautiful and something functional, and you have to know all the scientific principles of what makes a building, but that building still has to be beautiful. And if we don't teach beauty, then we shouldn't be building it. Like so many of our college campuses are ugly. But this one's not. But I've spoken at some really ugly ones, let me tell you. And so Chesterton says the reason why the modern world is ugly is because we don't love the modern world. If you love something, you'll make it beautiful. And so we teach beauty at Chesterton Academy. Not only is it one of the three transcendentals, but Chesterton says beauty is unanswerable. And that's why we from the very beginning, we're going to teach art. We're going to teach 4 years of art. And by the end of their senior year, these students are going to copy oil masterpieces. Art is not going to be an elective. It's going to be a requirement for 4 years. And we teach music for 4 years too. And then we teach drama as a requirement for 3 years, so that our students are all in 3 plays. My wife, who runs the drama department at our school, and also the drama department at our home, she says that drama is the most Christian of all the arts. Drama is the most Christian of all the arts because it's about dying to yourself and rising again as a new creature that has been designed by someone else for you to be. It's giving yourself up. It's absolutely letting go of yourself in order to be this other person. It's about the body of Christ because it's about working together. And if one part suffers, the whole body suffers. And it's the most incarnational of all the arts. It's literally about the word becoming flesh. The words on a page becoming flesh on the stage. And students who, after they've had their experience in drama, they have more self-confidence, they have a better sense of a team spirit, they're bonded together more, and they understand, what integrated means when they put on a play together. And then the other thing we decided we were going to absolutely insist on is 4 years of philosophy. Most high schools don't teach any philosophy at all. But if you're going to teach faith and reason, well, that means you have to teach faith and reason. We teach 4 years of theology, but also 4 years of philosophy. And we show there's a connection between philosophy and math and the mathematics, because they're both about using your reason to solve problems. When students ask, well, why are we really studying math? Because your whole life is going to be solving problems. That's why. But also, we like making you miserable during your time here. That's the other reason we teach math. It's so important when they see that there is a connection with solving problems, whether it's on this philosophical level or whether it's on this simple, pure mathematical level. There is a connection. That's part of the integration. Our first math course is a philosophy course. It's Euclid. So that's the perfect marriage of math and philosophy. And then we also understood it's going to be Catholic, so we're going to have daily Mass. Mass is going to be the center of the day. And from daily Mass has naturally grown daily confessional. So there's at our school back in the Twin Cities, there's usually 2 priests available to hear confessions every day. We have 2 long lines of little sinners every day. And but that's just the centerpiece of the day. The incarnation is what informs everything we teach. We teach the Catholic faith in every classroom, in every subject. We give them a Catholic perspective of what we're teaching, whether it's literature or history or any other subject. It's going to be taught from a Catholic perspective because it's part of this one integrated truth. The incarnation informs every other truth. And that's part of the reason why the school immediately was recognized as something different, and why people started coming to us, and we want to do what you're doing. And when they first came, just a few years after the school started, and asked, we want to do what you're doing, we're still figuring out what it is we're doing. But we showed them our curriculum, and they'd already heard about it from the word had gotten around. And so I want to mention one other thing. We also teach Latin. Latin is a requirement, and they can either stay with Latin for 4 years or take another language that we offer instead for 2 years. But Latin is essential for not only understanding English, it's important for the liturgy. Even if you don't go to the Latin Mass, it is an ordered language so that students who study Latin do better at math. That's simply one of those statistics that I cannot explain, but I can always point it out. Students who do well at Latin, students who simply study Latin do better at math than those who don't. So the subtitle of this talk, the creativity needed to build something new. We haven't done anything new. We did something old. We weren't looking for a new solution. We were looking for why did it work and why did it all fall apart? And we just tried to restore this treasure that has been buried. And that's what a classical education is. You're looking for your solution in the past where it actually has been proven to work, rather than in the future for something new to come along that simply will be untested, and maybe you're moving in the wrong direction anyway. I mean, education right now in the country is moving in the wrong direction. The reason for the revival of classical education is because it's chosen to go in the opposite direction. And the students all learn the line at Chesterton Academy, a dead thing goes with the stream, only a living thing can go against it. You only heard that for 4 years, right? But that's how we're going to transform a society. That's how you have a successful, a truly successful entrepreneurial venture. Not trying to figure out what the market, direction the market is going. No. Figure out how to correct the market with something bold and dramatic that is going to make a change in the society. You don't want to do anything by going with the flow. You need to go and do something that is bold. And that's what people are going to gravitate towards. The success of our schools is something that is so unbelievable and so miraculous. But what we've done is we've given the parents a tool to control their students' education. They are the founders of the school. Each school is founded, independently all around the country, and we give them the curriculum. We give them the templates of how to start a school, tell them how to put together a board of directors, how to do fundraising, how to get their documents in order, and we just lead them right through the process, and then they become this independent entity that becomes a partner or a member of the Chesterton Schools Network. And so we all keep an eye on each other, we all help each other, we work together. That's becomes the greater strength then of this network. It's very much the Catholic model. It's subsidiarity. It's that and the other word, of course, that we are using now is localism. It is that the things that affect you most directly, you should be in charge of. The things that affect you most directly, you should be in charge of. You don't want a remote, centralized state controlling it, but you also don't want a remote, centralized business controlling it. We honor the locality and the localism of each school. But the other principle that goes along with subsidiarity is solidarity. We're all in it together. So we all are trying to do the same thing. and we recognize that these are the principles by which we're going to abide. We are going to teach these things, and we are going to all require daily Mass. We all are going to teach the Catholic faith, that the center of our school is going to be the Holy Spirit. And so everyone agrees to that, so they support each other, but sometimes there's a local need where a course might be switched out for something else because that particular locality might benefit more directly from a business economics class or an accounting class rather than advanced calculus. Maybe, right? But and so the first schools, the second wave of school, first one to 2008, 4 new schools started in 2014. Since 2014, 70 schools have opened, and that's 11 years. And one of the things that helped us tremendously was COVID. COVID exposed how bad education was, as parents saw what their kids were being taught when they had to stand behind the shoulder of their kids on the screen. And they realized, we need something else. This isn't working. And this is when, bad parents started to become good parents, when they realized, I can't let my student continue to have this kind of education. I need something different. And we opened 10 schools during COVID. While schools were all being closed, we opened 10 new schools during COVID. And the Catholic schools are getting their wake up too, that we really have to start being Catholic, because that is what sets us apart from everything else. And to teach specifically the Catholic things. And it starts with the Mass. The Mass is going to be, it's what sets our faith apart, but it sets our intellectual understanding apart from everything else. But we teach the faith in all subjects. I remember when our archdiocese came to us in the Twin Cities and said, Dale, we want you to be officially a Catholic school, because we were still operating as a mere independent school. And when we asked them, what's required, they say, well, you have to do, these things. And I said, well, we'll get back to you on that, because they were a lot of strange requirements. It sounded very much like public education. Well, when the auxiliary bishop came to me, a guy by the name of Andrew Cousins, an alum of this particular school, he and I had a little history together, because when I was received into the Catholic Church, he was a newly ordained priest, and he's the one who received me into the Catholic Church. So he was the one sent out to talk to me. He said, Dale, we need you to become a Catholic school. I know there's a lot of things you don't like about our requirements. We can negotiate most of those. There's certain things that are non-negotiable. But for the most part, we can work with you. And you could probably set up the school under your apostolate that you already have running. You have this Chesterton Society. But the reason you need to be a Catholic school is because all the other Catholic schools hate you. Because you're more Catholic. And that's what we want you to be, a reason for them to raise their bar. To not only have a better education, but a more Catholic education. And it's true that as a result of us becoming part of the Catholic official school system in the Twin Cities, other Catholic schools have done things because they realize we really have to set ourselves apart from other schools. We may have a great sports program that wins the state league championship every year, but why don't we have a full-time chaplain too? And why don't we start having Mass? And as one parent from another school said to me, I don't see anybody getting mad that they're becoming more Catholic. I don't see anybody complaining. And so we're trying to not only get the Catholic schools more Catholic, but that's how the Catholic parents are getting more Catholic and not being in such bad shape. So we're also going to be affordable. One of the great tragedies of modern education is how expensive it is. We have found ways to save money. We've found ways to be more efficient. And we found ways that attract parents and families that wouldn't even think about a private education. And even with our low tuition, we still will, of course, give scholarships to those who need extra money to pay tuitions. Because if we're a pro-life school, we can't be anti-family by charging a tuition that's out of reach, especially as we encourage families to have more children. And so it's very important that we keep the costs down. And that's been why the model has been so effective. It's Catholic, it's classical, it's affordable, and the thing has grown. The creativity was simply going back and looking at what worked before, and it's truly been a paradox. Boy, they heard that word a lot when I was there. That the new thing we've done has been old, and the success has been unbelievable. But our goal is not obviously to make money or to be famous. Our goal is to take care of the souls of our children, because there's nothing more important than the souls of our children. Entrepreneurship has to be about doing what is right and doing what is good, and God will bless our efforts if we honor Him in all that we do. Thank you very much for your time. Okay, I'd be happy to answer some questions here. Yes.